Today, I thought I'll cover the topic of this plant blindness. I did one video earlier, but I was not happy. I was moving the camera too fast. So this time, we are going to stay put in one location and then look at some plants and talk about. I'll say my thoughts about it. Now, plant blindness means a typical person typical citizen of the planet. For them, when they look at something like this, what they see is a wall of greenery. And what they notice will be those little pink flowers, maybe at the most, that Mimosa pudica there. Otherwise, it's one mass of greenery, and the eyes are not sensitized sufficiently where they can see the multiple shades of greenery and multiple shapes of leaves, and then you can get an so for a trained eye, this is you can see, you can stand and identify the individual species. You can make out how much density is there about in the species. So it's just like this. When you're new to something, a new subject or a new language, whatever they talk sounds like some jumble of sounds, that's all. So, but as you go on listening to a language, you can start making out some meaning in it. And then those sounds, that jumble of sounds, slowly segregates in the mind, and we start recognizing patterns and variations and all that. At that point, some meaning can be drawn from those sounds, meaningless sounds, formerly meaningless sounds. So likewise with plants also, if you're plant blind, this is all just one mess of greenery, and the noticeable thing is those pinks. But if one stands put in one place, starts observing, then you can start seeing that there is some variations in the leaves shape and color of the greenery, all that. And then if once a person is becomes aware that it's not just a mass of greenery, but there's a bunch of things there. And then when you go on looking at those plant communities, groups of plants, individual plants, slowly each species becomes distinct in the mind. So when you see a particular leaf in your mind, the memory and all that will activate, and you will notice that it's something different from the other one. Just like these identical twins also, when we first see them, they look the same. But if you go on interacting with those identical twins, or you will make out soon enough that they are not the same. Some little variations will be there in their looks, nose and physical features, the way they talk, mannerisms and all that. Despite all the similarities, the difference becomes clear. So same principle applies with this plant blindness also. And the best way to get rid of this plant blindness is to look at plants regularly. And then you will notice in this patch, for example, you can go through the species once, whatever comes to whatever I am aware of. This is one of those legume that I had done some videos on it. It has some small yellow flowers. It's there in my video somewhere. Then this is the Mimosa pudica at the lower level. And the lowest level, there is Desmodium with that tiny purple flowers. These. So at the ground level, this Desmodium is there. Then some mosses are there. and then some of these grasses are there. And these grasses, the people walk on this part. This is actually the path, this road, mud road. So here there's subdued and there's more sunlight, so the desmodium is able to survive this one. Then here the people are not trampling on it, so the grass has grown taller. And then underneath, the sunlight that goes through is less, so the desmodium vanishes off from there onwards. From there onwards it decreases. Then grasses occupy more, and then there is one of that I think that Sida, one of that Bala group of plants. Then this Mimosa pudica starts increasing there because its more height is there. It is able to vertically grow also tall. So at this 1 feet high, you start seeing the Mimosa pudica. Then behind that crotal area, one plant is there. And then this is one more of that mimosa only, but it's not that sensitive. The leaves and all don't fold up. And flowers are quite pretty actually. I never noticed these flowers before. Little pink ones. So this is the, I think, third or fourth species. Then as you go back, the disturbance is less, so the taller and taller undergrowth starts showing up. And second variety of grass or sedge, it is seeded here. Then even behind that bush is there, that Ziziphus oneplea, I think it's called. It has little blue fruits that are edible, birds and all like. And then on that, the Dioscorea has climbed up. That heart-shaped leaves, if you notice, that is the Dioscorea. And those little that light green with the you can see small clumps of flowers, that is that Ziziphus. So then even behind that, one of that invasive weed is there, that so-called Congress grass and all it's called. Its botanical name I don't know. So like that, a person who is not plant blind, for them this is all has meaning. It's different species and all you can see, and then some of the shapes you have seen somewhere else you'll start recognizing. Whereas a plant blind person can't draw any meaning out of looking at this. Then people who studied this plant blindness, they found that it is least among forested communities, tribals, communities, village border people and all, because they, for their lives, are more interconnected with the shapes of these leaves and all. And they are taught from childhood. And also they don't have other visual stimuli. So most importantly, their life depends on identifying the right species, what you can eat, what you can't eat, which is poisonous, all such things. So they are having least plant blindness. And then people in cities and all who hardly interact with plants, and even little children who grow up in those apartments and all, they don't interact with any plants. If the people at home are keeping 1 or 2 pots, that's there. Otherwise, there's virtually no interaction. And our parks and all are not keeping native trees and plants. So they just grow up seeing some imported stuff and think that is that's all they know. So for such kids, what I would suggest is that somebody has to show them, point it out to the children that, listen, this shape is like this, when you touch the leaf it has this texture. Like that, if someone starts pointing out little variations or notable features, then they pick up very fast because it's genetically ingrained into us. And a few of those kids will go deeper into the subjects. And when they don't get this kind of when the eyes are not open to the variety of plants, when they are plant blind, and this is not pointed out to them, then whatever is important for their own survival, they're like those street signals and traffic signals and other things, so traffic, different types of cars or whatever they're seeing, that's what will register in their brains. So from an environmental point of view, we can't afford to have plant blind people on the planet, because our entire living depends on them, on these plants. So part of the education curriculum itself should be this plant blind. I mean, you start show them the different shapes and all that, the education in the school and all, and then they pick up fast. So that's a talk on that plant blindness.